All right, disclaimer, I resell. So everything I talk about, feel free in the comments to call me out. But I have 3 things I wanted to talk about in today's vlog, if you will, is one, just the type of resellers out there right now, just trying to do, I guess, whatever to make a buck. It's pretty egregious. Also, running into my first vendor, or I don't even know what you call it, but the people that restock the supplies at Target. I always hear of people following them and learning their schedules. I ran into one, so I want to talk about that. And then just what it's like for real people who are trying to just collect cards for their kids. I talked to a mom the other day who was just kind of unloading on me her thoughts on the whole Pokemon collecting. So let's start with the Target restocking. So a friend gave me a tip that one of our local Targets got a huge stock in of Black Bolt, White Flare, pretty much all of the current boxes that were in retail stores right now. So I raced over to the Target, and by the time I got there, it was all gone. The guy was there stocking it though. He had a bunch of sports stuff that he was stocking. And I talked to them, and he was telling me there was 40 people in line when the store opened, already camped out. And I was like, it was a Tuesday, by the way. So I was like, why? Is that your regular schedule? And then he's like, oh yeah, they already know. He's like, they know I'm here every Tuesday. And then I guess the Target had a limit, but it wasn't 2 Pokemon items in total. I thought that was always their deal, but apparently it was 2 of each item. So people were grabbing, obviously shopping bags full. My friend got a ton of stuff. He got 8 different SKUs. So I guess that's something interesting to know, because just because Target has a restock doesn't mean it's going to be there for more than minutes after the store opens. But one other interesting thing, and I don't know if this is again like it at every location, but he locks off the area, so you're technically not allowed to purchase until he's done with the full restock. But I guess what he did was he came in, let everybody pull off all their Pokemon, and then he closed off the area to put up all the sports and all the other cards on the shelf. Hopefully the audio is okay here. And the air conditioner is pumping. It's almost 100 degrees here in California. But anyway, what was funny is he was telling me it was closed off, and that's how we got talking, because he was just telling me it was closed off. And then I was like, oh, well, I was looking for Pokemon. And then meanwhile, while we're talking, there's these Final Fantasy booster packs, just single, I guess, hangers on the wall. And this guy walks in front of him to go grab some, and he's trying to tell the guy hey, we're closed. And he's like, okay, well, just grab what you want. And then this guy just grabs all the Final Fantasy packs that were on the wall, and there's probably I don't know, 2 handfuls worth, so however many packs it is, 15 packs or something. He goes to grab them, and the guy's telling him, hey, there's a limit, you can only buy up to 2. And then the guy's like, no, I can get as many as I want. The lady said there's nobody in line anymore, so I can get as many as I want. And then the guy was like, okay, whatever. And then as this customer puts himself in front of the vendor, he spills the packs all over the place. They're on the floor, they're on the shelves. And, again, this guy, he's trying to do his job, right? He's trying to stock the shelf. I'm just shaking my head, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it just derailed the guy a couple more minutes. I mean, I was talking to him too, so I was probably bugging him, but anyway, so the guy collects all the cards and he goes off. He never comes back, so I guess he was able to buy all of them after all, which, good for him, I guess. But I talked to the guy some more, and he was telling me how, he has a fixed date, everybody knows his schedule, and how he started complaining about it's all the YouTubers trying to get product and then resell it. And I was just yeah, it's hard, because of course I want product, both to resell, but also for my own hobby. So again, I'm always kind of two-faced in that way, that I'm selling to pay for my ability to, get the cards that I do want and collect. But anyway, it was insightful, both watching him interact with the public, trying to get his job done, and then of course myself getting some tips out of him that you basically need to be there first thing in the morning. You can't sleep on this stuff, which leads me to one of the other stories I was talking about, one of my coworkers. So my coworkers and I, we have like a little group where we just talk about like Pokemon that's available in the area. And it had came up before I was heading to Target that if we have a job, it's just like so hard to keep up against the resellers, because since we all have kind of like 9-to-5 jobs, we can't just leave our job in the middle of the day or camp out, because usually camping out in front of a Target means we're going to possibly cut into our work hours, right? So there's little grumblings of that. But one of my coworkers, I was talking to her because she's got some younger kids, and she's just telling me how, I just keep trying to remind myself this is, not get caught up in the hype. It's a kid's game, so she's getting the cards for her kids where she can. And it's really nice that she's literally considered saving an ETB of every set, and just gonna hand those to her kids, hopefully in the future. Not so much so that they're worth a lot, but she thought her kid could enjoy opening sets again down the road. But they're opening them up together, and it was a nice chat. It was fun. She was telling me how her and her older son, who I think was around 7, they're trying to master set Journey together, which I thought was hilarious because I have coworkers, or the general public right now says Journey Together is like a horrible set, but here's this family who's totally enjoying the set. I actually like the set. I think it's cool. So it was cool that they're doing that. But then she was like then going down the rabbit hole of like how much she like hates Pokemon YouTube, and how it's like consumerism, and how it's just like so many people falling into the idea that they have to consume and get every card. I know it's in the name of Pokemon, collect them all, but she was bringing that up, which was a good conversation, because it's like raising a kid. Like, kids don't realize on YouTube that, like, one, how these people are getting the money to afford cards that they're just breaking, or even the cards when people do breaks, like how people are affording to pay for those cards. Like, kids just like get normalized to the situation and think like, oh my god, the California roads. Sorry, it's bumpy, hot. This is California. So yeah, kids get normalized into like, oh, I have to spend a lot of money. I have to get all the PSA 10s, like the alt cards, or special illustration rares are the only cool card that's in the set. When, like, even adults of course fall for it, but a lot of people hopefully realize, like, they're being paid. There's advertising backing people on YouTube. It's of course a lot of people might be going into debt too on both sides, just trying to either become famous on YouTube. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing where, like, again, Pokemon's supposed to be a hobby, but of course the corporation has never-ending product and scarcity, and both consumers can get pretty addicted to it, right? So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the mom sticks with it, in a reasonable state, but it did seem like she was pretty exhausted with trying to keep up with all the resellers. Which brings me to my third item here, the resellers, the egregious resellers. Okay, so I resell, and I was asking my coworkers again too, like, where is the line when you go from like a reseller that's marking up all the product to someone who's reselling something that's like gone up in value. I don't know if I'm making sense there, but to make it more concrete, basically I have a Celebration ETB that's gone up like crazy right now, and there's Bart next to me. If getting a big taste of California here. You complain about the heat, the bumpy roads, and then you get to see Bart, going eastbound here through Oakland. But anyway, back to the story. So, the value of the box is up a lot. I was thinking actually swapping that out and trying to buy, other sets that are in Scarlet and Violet. And of course, like, I don't want to be called a scalper. That was maybe what I was saying. It's like, reselling is one thing, but like, when are you a scalper, right? And coworkers are saying like, well, it's kind of all bets are off. In their opinion, after a set is is no longer available, which, you know, is a good thing. But of course, people might be upset that people stored a bunch of cards in their closet for years, right, until a set wasn't available, and then they're just now selling it. So I don't know. I think people complain either way, but I've started to see a whole nother level, right? On eBay, I now see posts of people selling like Sea and Sky boxes that from Costco that came out, or the what is it? Blooming Waters, I think it is, sets that came out of Costco of 151, and they're showing photos on eBay. It's a hilarious video. Hopefully you just listen to the audio, so I'm gonna keep all this in. But anyway, they're showing photos on eBay of like stacks, like 10 feet tall, of just boxes, and then of course, you know, you're only able to buy one for 3x the cost, actually 5x the cost they paid at Costco. And you know, it's funny, my coworker was like, oh, she's joking, like, if she bought off of that person, that she thought she was getting all, you know, 25 boxes in the photo for the price of $200. And which is kind of funny, because selling on eBay, that's one thing that a lot of people tell you is don't ever show any other product in the photo, because the buyer will assume that they're getting everything that's in the photo. People don't read. So with Pokemon, though, of course, the seller will just be like, no, of course you're an idiot. And like, it would, you know, that would be way too cheap. It's never, you know, that cheap. But at the same time, like, the buyer kind of has a leg to stand on in that case, because they're showing all this content. And I don't know what it is. Like, obviously the photo stands out when you're scanning through the lists. And there's like something different than just seeing a single box on the screen. But it's also part, like, really, I mean, in my mind, like, gloating, like throwing it in the public space, like, hey, I got all this content, I'm gonna charge you a ton of money because I can. You know, I basically didn't give you an opportunity to get any of this because I won. You know, I was not, I didn't have a job at the time. I was able to stand in line, or, you know, I sacrificed something to go sit there, so like now, you know, I should have a return. I get all that, and you know, there's aspects that, you know, it's fair, but at the same time, like, I don't know, just throwing like stacks of it in your photos just seems like a little intense. And but then you think that would top it, right? Same coworker, the same mom that I talked to, she sends me on oh gosh, what's the other site? Anyway, well, Mercari. I believe it was Mercari. I'm gonna try and find these photos. The Victini box. Somebody was selling on Mercari for $25, the box. And I was like, well, wait a minute, why did you send this to me? What's wrong with it, right? You look at the post. It says open box, right? So then, $25, I was like, well, okay, the box is open. That's pretty bad. So literally in the photo, they have the box is opened on one side. No, it goes worse. Every pack is open. This person isn't even trying to fake that they, you know, they just accidentally opened the box, decided they didn't want it, the packs are sealed. They didn't, what else? There's more to this. They didn't even like reseal them and try and pretend they're sealed, you know, like, I mean, I guess they're being honest that, you know, it's not a resealed, but any hit that was in that box is gone. They're literally just rewrapped the, you know, they showed them open, but they rewrapped the open packs and they're reselling $25. And I mean, I guess they have the promos in there, but I mean, like, the gall, right? Like, I don't know. It's just a whole nother level of like reselling. All right, but yeah, maybe they're not a scalper, but, and trying to recover a few bucks. But I just think, like, most likely they just had a ton of these boxes. They went through all of them, ripped what they could, and then I don't know, I haven't looked at the price of the Victini promos, but I don't think they add up quite to $25. I think they were charging shipping. We'll have to double check that in the post. But $25, it's like, if you're already opening it all, like, you can ship it a lot cheaper if you don't send it in the original box, right? So I don't know, but anyway, I'm really curious to hear people's state of the market right now and collecting. Are you still having fun collecting Pokemon? Are you finding cards out there, or have you figured out alternatives? Are you just buying singles online? Maybe you're going to card shows, or you just have some friends that you're able to trade with. But yeah, it's definitely a different state than the Pokemon that I've been collecting through the past couple of years. So here we are. We'll see. I don't know. There's a lot of restock happening right now throughout Costco's and apparently Target's here in the United States. I hear Europe is not getting nearly the restocks, and they're super jealous of what the palettes they see of photos online. But yeah, well, maybe it'll flood the market and prices will crash and more resellers will have to offload. But yeah, we'll see what everybody thinks of the market as we continue. So, okay, nerds, let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe. We'll see ya. Thanks for the journey together.